What's up, everybody? My name's Seth and we are back in some more Trove Developer. Today we're going to be talking about the recent developer live stream and the questions that they ended up answering. Some of them interesting, some of them not so much. But primarily what we end up doing in these videos is reading all of the stuff that Shiro Kiri, big shout out to him, ended up summarizing from the developer live stream. And then we get overly critical about where this game's actually going. But anyways, aside from the jokes, everybody, hello, go away, I'll destroy you. Before we get started, I would appreciate if you would hit that like button, makes videos show up in searches and stuff so people can end up finding all this cool stuff. So let's get started without further ado. First question is, I like how Sunseeker Rowan works with quests. Will club NPC quests ever get this rework? Okay, we disconnected as I'm trying to go to the hub because I wanted to show you guys that Rowan's ship has been almost completely built. But anyways, the developers say that we're glad you enjoy it. We're looking very closely at how people like the quests and adventures in Geode, and assuming people like them, you'll see more things in the mold of Geode and what we're doing. So they completely dodged the question. I don't think they're gonna pay any attention to the adventurine quests or anything like that. What they're most likely referencing here, though, is in the Geode update, there's actually going to be these little NPC dudes, right? And you can actually interact with them in the Geode hub area, and they'll end up giving you a passive quest that you can end up taking out into the world. That part of the Geode update, if that's what they're talking about in terms of the quest system, that part sucks. It really does, because what it expects you to do is the same as clubs, where you want to go into the Geode area, grab a quest, go into a cave, complete that quest, go back to the Geode area, thus resetting where you were in the caves to end up accepting a new quest. Now, that said, there is actually something else that we didn't necessarily get to touch upon in the Geode update because so many things were constantly changing with it. In the Christology, they actually have a box that you can end up crafting, and using said box will actually give you a quest. Now, unfortunately, those Geode quests from those boxes will only end up giving you crystals upon completing the quest. I want that system, but for Adventurine, because that is the way to do it, because then you don't have to leave the world. You can just keep opening the boxes over and over and over again like a freak, and that would just be fantastic, dude. It seriously would. What is this? Fancy walkie-talkie, and it's busted. Okay, they're just trying to show off the video effects, I guess. That's pretty cool. I don't fully understand. Oh my gosh. What are we building? The entire Geode area? This is ridiculous. Okay, anyways, let's move on here. Next question. Any plans for a sink like Adventurine, Plasmium, and other key resources? I don't think that Adventurine is a key resource, but Plasmium definitely does need a sink because otherwise they've only really been making more and more of a sink for Robo Salvage and other current resources rather than actually working on some of the more recent resources. Like Plasmium is just absolute trash as far as its value is concerned. I'm kind of expecting us to reach the top soon. Like, seriously, can we ever? There we go. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like this. Is this another broken thing? Yeah. Okay, just keep reusing the joke over and over in case we ended up missing it the first time. That's still neato. So anyways, their response is Adventurine and Plasmium already have quite a few sinks, but it's possible we don't understand the question fully. So if you could, please clarify. Okay, let me clarify it here, guys. I'll clarify it in 1 second. Plasmium. There, is that enough clarification for you? Seriously, this resource is too easy to come by while only being able to spend it on resources within the resistors table, while the resistors table is extremely overly complicated with using Plasmium to craft various things. Plasmium needs to be incorporated into the core game on top of just the resistor stuff, like seriously, or some type of a consumable item, not just a bunch of mounts and then you just have it forever. You know, Robo Salvage you can use for everything. Oh gosh, these stupid clouds. I gotta turn them off. What is the structure building outside of the hub? So obviously, I can answer that. This is going to end up being a Bomber Royale arena that in roleplay, as they say, takes us to Sanctuary. Okay, this is called the Solidarity. So it's going to be this boat that we ended up getting from the quest. It's just on a grander scale, which I guess is kind of cool, but it doesn't actually take us there, guys. Like, it's just, it doesn't. So anyways, any tutorial for the player to learn to spend time between Trove and Geode, and the developers say that's what Scythe Plays is for. No, they don't actually acknowledge me. So no tutorial planned for the Geode area. Pretty much when you end up going there, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory, guys. You're just going to end up following the quest line that's going to be in the top right, and that's going to pretty much explain everything. But otherwise, I just recently had a video come out that's talking about caving, and that talks about modules and caving, and explains all of the basics of what you're going to actually need with the Trove Geode update and everything like that. And otherwise, if there's any other things that I need to make tutorials on, I will, otherwise I've got plenty of them already. So will you consider adding silver and gold companion eggs to the Bomber Royale merchant? So the developers say that it's unlikely, but feedback will be passed along. Definitely not gold eggs, so maybe we'll see silver eggs at the Bomber Royale merchant, which would actually be great, because then we would actually be able to get them. Because for some reason, they had it where you were going to be able to find silver and gold eggs very rarely while you're out in the cave system and stuff like that. And then for some weird reason, they just ended up backing away and taking that out of the game, saying that it was too buggy, even though it worked fine. I think the real reason why they ended up doing it, because they still want to have value to those new packs that are going to be added to the store, which don't have any value, because all they end up giving you is a random chance of getting items. If I'm going to be spending my hard-earned money towards buying stuff in Trove, you just give me the rare item, okay? You don't give me a box that has another chance of getting a rare item, okay? That's just like, no. So anyways, when will there be a fix for the Dyno Tamer's ult bug? So this is going to be when you cast his ult and he just gets stuck trying to go to the hub. They say that they're looking into the fix for this in the next update after Geode, because that's going to be where they're going to revise a lot of the classes and stuff with the U10 update. When will there be new dragons? So there's going to be some dragons that are coming out in Geode. I already have videos on all of them. And then there's going to be dragons in the update after that. So U10, this kind of hints towards the new primordial dragons that we're going to be getting, because obviously the developers have said that they're going to make new primordial dragons because of the new gems that we're going to end up getting our hands on. But they also say that the update after that and the update after that one as well. So I would take this with a grain of salt. I think that they're trying to, make a joke more so than them actually adding dragons in every single consequential update after another, because personally speaking, or not even personally speaking, just the game itself, they haven't been putting out dragons every update. So are there any plans on fixing the problem with ultimate abilities going in cooldown while not activating when used? This is especially apparent with the Draco. If you end up casting your ult, your cooldown ends up counting, but you didn't actually transform. It happens with a lot of characters, but it also happens with emblems not activating when using flasks. So the developers say that it's a bug that's very difficult for them to reproduce internally, probably because they're not on laggy servers, but they're definitely working on it. We thought we had it fixed for the flask, but sadly didn't fix the whole problem. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But anyways, it doesn't really matter that much, because there's not really that many aspects of this game that are overly competitive or need that type of quick responsive gameplay outside of Shadow Towers. Anyways, next question is, any plans on changing the Dyno Tamer's ultimate for the flying one, so people can glide between dungeons when farming? So I guess what this person was referring to is a long time ago, and I mean like last year, we ended up getting a sneak peek at a file that was showing an animation. It was an animation file for the Dyno Tamer, where the Dyno Tamer was gliding with his wings and he was carrying his ultimate. We've been waiting for that ever since we ended up seeing it, expecting that the Dyno Tamer was going to be able to actually glide while still using its ult. But for some weird reason, despite that, the developers actually respond and say, no plans right now, but when it's up for its revamp, we will consider the feedback. I don't think that they're doing the Dyno Tamer revamp when the U10 update comes out. When the U10 update comes out, more so they're going to end up kind of revising and kind of fixing up a lot of the characters, but they're not going to end up doing a full rework for every other character, all for the U10 update. They're just going to kind of scale them, I guess, for U10 or something. Do you have any plans in the near future about maybe adding more transit portals? Short answer is no, that they're not going to end up doing that, but ultimately I think that they were a little bit confused at the question, because they say, where did you think you wanted more transit portals? obviously dummy. We want it in the stupid rune crafting. Like, I really don't know what they're talking about. We want more transit portals because we don't have enough for Club Worlds. But they go on to say that there's no plans right now. But if there are certain things where you think they'd help a lot that don't compromise game integrity, let us know. Just give us more transit portals. It doesn't do anything to the game already that isn't already being done by placing a transit portal in the first place. It's just giving us more options for teleporting to specific areas and clubs. Because some people's clubs are really, really big, and 4 transit portal colors is not enough. I think there's only 4. Will the new auras coming out be unlockable via Prisms of Light? So Prism of Light is a rare item you can end up getting in the game that will end up unlocking auras for your character with a stellar helmet. Either way, no, you can't actually get the new auras with the Prism of Light. You're going to attain them from Crystal Pinatas. And the Bomber Royale as well. Now, I don't think I even put out a video yet showing off what all of those auras are, so I'll try and get that out to you guys hopefully sometime soon. All right, there, I had to just clear my throat there. Any plans to make Despoiled Divinity more obtainable than 3 a week? So they say no, it's intentionally supposed to be really restrictive. You mean time gated. It gives access to sweet stuff, and it should take a long time to get. It just gives access to costumes. It's not really that great stuff. The only reason that they ultimately justify the fact that Divinity takes so long is because you can end up getting the moon costumes, which end up giving tons of mastery. Now, what they don't seem to realize is that they've put a couple craftable items that cost Divinity as well, which maybe they do realize it. Most of all, the reason why it's a problem is because as they end up adding more things to the game that are going to cost Despoiled Divinity, it means that the game is that much less approachable for new players or even returning players that haven't been able to log in every single day to end up getting all of this stuff, which is just a general problem with Trove's development as a whole, because as they're constantly adding more and more items to the Chaos Chest, it's getting that much more and more distant for a new player to be able to even keep up with somebody like myself who has pretty much everything in the entire game. Somebody else asked if they're going to end up making a reduction on jumping jadefish. Trying to trade on console takes forever, and fishing for 1,800 is a bit much. So originally, the developers go on to say that it cost 5,000 jumping jadefish, and it got knocked down to 1,800. They also say that they want the fish dragon to end up being very difficult to get, which it's not difficult to get, guys. Get over yourselves. It's just time consuming. Like, fishing sucks. Nobody likes doing it. When will we get new gems? When the second phase of Geode unlocks. So that's going to be the U10 update coming out in the fall. Will there be an increase in the level cap in U10? I don't like this one. I really don't like the response here. We are considering it, but definitely not set in stone. As U10 comes closer, we'll have more information. I'm fine with new gems, even though they promised they wouldn't add any more. I'm fine with a new tier of gear, even though they promised us that Stellar was going to be the last. I don't want more levels. Like, seriously, it took me long enough to grind all my classes to 30, dude. And even, like, grinding one class to 30 is already ridiculous. Like, it takes, like, what, 12 or 6 hours, depending if you're using XP boosters or doing it on XP day and stuff like that. It's ridiculous to expect us to grind any more to our characters, let alone if they don't revamp the current scale up to level 30 and say they give us like level 40. It's like, that's 10 more levels for all classes, which I guarantee you those 10 levels will probably be more experience than it took from getting 1 to 30. Because it's just like the scaling is so bad, right? I don't want new levels, man. I really, really don't. There's no reason for it either. Like, I understand that maybe we would need another level, more levels just because of the sake of continuity, so we could end up getting more gem slots unlocked. But seriously, just give me them all at level 30. I don't care, because then it's about power rank to get to U10 and get those new gems, rather than actually having me waste my time grinding up my levels and making my character that much stronger, which, honestly speaking, I don't think we're going to end up really needing. Like, we'll see what happens when U10 comes out, but I'm not really expecting it to be that difficult, at least for somebody like myself who's a freaking already at the end game. So anyways, Rowan, which is the dude down at the bottom of the ship here, gives an optional quest similar to existing Adventurine quest. The quest has multiple arcs though, like hourly dungeon challenges. Is this a prototype for an upcoming quest rework? I would love that, because if you guys don't know, you can go get his quest and then it'll kind of be like, oh, repeat this quest like 3 or 4 different times with varying rewards that you end up getting, right? So they say it's not a test for a rework, it's an experiment for events for extra rewards and credit during that event, not intended to be a template for reworking existing quests. They really won't get over themselves and just rework the existing quest, will they? I mean, I know that it's a lot of work for them to go back into the code and end up changing how Adventurine works and everything like that, but seriously, it really needs a rework, because unfortunately, this is kind of what happens with Trove over the years. They add something to the game that's overly complicated and kind of broken and stupid, and players don't like it, and then they slowly end up finding a solution somewhere else, and then they don't end up going back and redefining that old content to be of the same quality as everything else. They're always addicted to moving forward and just releasing new stuff, right? Which obviously makes sense, because it's where you end up generating the most cash flow, is just by introducing new stuff and adding more packs to the already oversaturated store. Any plans to add new endgame content for Trove, even though Geode is being released soon? Geode has nothing to do with the end game, so I don't understand what this crazy person's talking about, but U10 obviously is going to end up being the end game. The developers say that U10 is definitely the focus, but U10 will bring new end game content for end game players. I'm still very curious if U10 is going to end up being something that specifically targets the end game player base, or if it's going to be something that's generally accessible for everybody. I'm very, very interested to see where they go with that. Or if it's just going to end up being U9, but it's got a new number, right? Can we get a Cinnabar Tome? The developers confirmed that, yes, they are putting one out with the Geode update. You can actually craft it in the rune crafting bench. Can we have alphabet blocks? So there's some musical blocks that they go on to say, but the reason that they're not going to end up doing that is because there's more than English speakers playing their game. Even though like almost everything about the game is kind of just English in general with all the tutorials and stuff, but you know, they have some localization and translations and stuff like that, right? So I don't think that they should ever add alphabet blocks, because obviously that's a huge window for griefing. Like, that would just be disgusting. It would still be cool for some places to end up having names and markets, of course, but it doesn't need to be in the game, honestly speaking. Please, can you make Cinnabar easier to farm? Cinnabar veins will actually be easier to farm in the Geode update. Please, can you get rid of shadow giants? These are the invaders that end up coming down in the world as you're out farming and stuff. And maybe replace them with very rare rampage bosses instead that have nothing to do with the rampage challenges. So the devs say, not right now. We want rampages to be the way to fight those bosses, plus the lore. There's no lore to the rampage challenges, guys. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. It's just something cool they thought of. They don't have to act like everything was done on purpose with the story. There is no story. Oh no, the clouds. Can you let us choose our name color? So this is interesting, because I talked about this feature a very long time ago, and I always thought that it would be something that I think players would actually spend money on, where you should be able to, not only change the color of your username on top of your character's head, but I always thought that you should have some type of a banner on top of your head, some type of a vanity item or something, very similar to MapleStory 2 actually does this, where you can actually buy out of the cash shop a chat box that will end up going over your character, and some of them you're going to end up getting rewarded through quests and stuff like that. But then separately, there's also going to end up being kind of like a title tag or a box that ends up going behind your username, and that is going to end up being a different type of item that you can end up getting, which I think all free-to-play games should have stuff like that, because all free-to-play games need is cosmetic items, right? Rather than what Trove does, where a lot of the items are actually required, and it's just they go the route of Nexon, where it's like, oh, you can buy XP potions and stuff like that, rather than the good free-to-play games like Path of Exile, where it's just cosmetic and it doesn't actually have any weight on the game, because then the game can actually end up being, balanced. But anyways, besides my rant, it's a feature we have seen requested a lot, and it's been tasked to track internally right now. Tracking as a real task now. So I guess eventually we're going to be able to just customize our name's color, which ultimately is going to get rid of mastery and total mastery and all of that stuff. I don't know if those name colors are going to end up being locked or what. But anyways, will the dormant Lorekeeper Dragon Egg be obtainable? And if so, when? They say that it's just rumors, but perhaps Luxian. We already know, hashtag confirm, that it's going to end up being Luxian. That's the Dragon Egg that you would end up getting from the daily login tokens. What will the power rank be for U10? Very good question, but they skip over it and say no info yet. When we start talking about it, we'll let you know. Obviously, you guys have started talking about it. They just don't want to let us know yet. I mean, seriously, the update's what, a couple months away? Can you make rampages happen more often? So the developers say, this is kind of funny. We're happy with how often they go off. The economy is balanced with it right now. No, it's not. Literally, within the time frame of doing this video, we've seen Plasmium lower in price because of the Rampage challenge. Like, no, the economy is not good with the Rampage challenges, dude. Like, we need more Rampage challenges, seriously. Or Rampage challenges should give Dragon Coins or something. Maybe you should be able to exchange your Plasmium for Dragon Coins. Oh man, that would destroy the game economy though, wouldn't it? Then they wouldn't make any money from Dragon Coins. Is the Sun and Moon Aura coming back? The Aura was released in a specific pack. This is their response. A lot of internal and external arguments. It's definitely not going to be on Luxian. We are talking of ways to possibly bring it back, but not anytime soon. So at this point, honestly, I think that it is a little bit unfair that they ended up giving us something out of an exclusive $100 pack when Mantle of Power came out that just gives us more mastery over most people. But at the same time, you know, Trove definitely needs to, like, I find it strange that they're so, like, that they're having so much trouble trying to figure out what's going on with the Sun Moon Aura when there are so many other things in the game that needed to have exclusivity that they just threw in a chaos chest. You know, like a lot of the daily login items, which were specific items rewarded to us for playing this game for a long period of time, where it's like someone could join the game and be like, whoa, what's that mount? Oh, you'll never be able to get this one, dude. But obviously, you know, a lot of those mounts didn't end up giving us any mastery because of the fact that otherwise that would be mastery that players would end up missing out on, which, you know, is my a big criticism that I have with this game is mastery as a whole. I don't like it because then we end up running into this problem rather than it just being a vanity item where it's something exclusive, something that you just have to show off with, you know what I mean? So it's a problem. Like, I don't think that they should ever give the Sun Moon Aura to everybody because we spent $100 on it. And, you know, like, seriously, it's ridiculous if they give that out for free to everyone with Prisms of Light or something. But anyways, they could just end up putting the store pack back in. That would end up doing it. Will all companions be able to be obtained without purchasing the packs? Yes. You're going to be able to get all the companions out of the bronze eggs. However, the chance of the drop rate is absolutely astronomically ridiculous. Not to mention the bronze eggs takes 10 hours to craft unless you end up crafting Accelerate or get load stars to increase your odds of actually getting a better companion. It's going to be a long-term goal, guys. I'd say if you're going into Geode expecting to end up maxing it out, don't. By the time U10 comes out, we probably will barely have scratched the surface with the companions and stuff like that. And not because it's a good system where it's like, oh man, it's that difficult to get them. No, it's RNG. It's going to be completely random. So it's going to be like, there's just no chance. Not to mention the fact that you can't trade these items, which is the biggest issue. You can trade the resources, but you can't trade the eggs. You can't trade the companions. And thus, technically speaking, if you want to get all of the companions, you have to get them all yourself, which is something I just really don't like. Can we get a South American server? No plans on that right now. Any new packs going to be added to the store with the Geode? Yes, a good few, and some more shortly after. Yikes. So we already know what the packs are going to be. Thankfully, they're all worthless, so we don't really need to buy any of them. But some of them coming further down the line might be worthwhile. And then finally, last but not least, will there be a new rarity of gear and gems in U10? I'm guessing whoever ended up asking that question hasn't watched any of my videos. Haha. All the developers say is maybe, whereas myself personally, I confirmed that they are in because the developers already confirmed that they're in as well. I don't know why they're trying to be elusive right there, but I guess they're just trying to be funny. In either case, folks, I know that we were overly critical about some stuff, but how can you blame me? What can I say? When it comes down to these types of things, we always want to just scratch it as much as we can and see if we can end up getting to the bottom of all of these goodies and stuff. So either way, Trove Geode update is coming out right away. Nobody really cares. I'm excited about it, but generally speaking, nobody really cares, honestly. Like, there's so many people that are just like, who cares? But U10 is the next update after that, so that's something to get excited about. And I can't wait to see what they got cooking for us, man. Like, regardless of whether it's just going to end up being U10 as in just another Uber world with a new number, I'm still excited to see what it's gonna be. Thanks for watching though, folks. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, as well as hit that notification bell if you want to end up getting notified of all the new videos coming out. Not to mention, check up on my tutorials. I've already got lots of tutorials on all the geode stuff, because when it was on the test server, I ended up pumping out a lot of recordings. So if you're confused about anything when the geode update comes out, you can check out any of those older tutorials, right? But in either case, thanks for watching. You can also check links in the description for my merch store, where you can buy this shirt and a bunch of other stuff, as well as Gawkbox and another website where you can end up actually downloading apps on your phone, playing them for a set amount of time, and then you end up getting free money that you can end up donating to yours truly if you decide to. Thank you so much for watching though, folks. Sayonara and stay epic.